Bet Sharukkin, The Son of Perdition by Alan Bonk. Chapter 13, Armageddon. The news crew gathered in one of the motel rooms. Heavy static. A TV report on the American survivors was interrupted. Israel attacks. Russia loses nearly 80% of the population in its western parts. No one understands how Israel could project so much power, but not before the Russians decimated northern Israel. Although there are those who think it was the Russians who were decimated in northern Israel by an Israeli operation called Bear Trap. More after Sean turns off the TV. Sally stares out the window, a quiet, small town. How could little Israel defeat Russia? Sean asks. Sally responded, "The Lord says, I will put hooks into the Russian jaws and drag her into northern Israel to destroy her. It will take 7 months to bury the Russian dead in Israel, and 7 years to clean the site and to remove all the weapons." Evelyn bolted across the room and grabbed the book from a bag. "Daniel's 70th week," she said. They looked at her confused. She flipped through the bookmarked pages. Evelyn reads, "It is a prophecy about the final 7 years of the current age. It will precede the 1,000 years of world peace. The events of these last 7 years are often referred to by the prophets as the day of the Lord, or the time of God's wrath. These 7 years will start when Israel makes a 7-year security agreement with the Assyrian." Laura asked, "Do you mean Paul's NATO security agreement started the clock for Daniel's 70th week?" Evelyn confirmed, "Yes. Within this week of years, 7 military campaigns will take place, which are actually associated with Paul. They are called collectively the Battles of Armageddon." Confused, Isaac begged for clarification. "Somebody, please tell me what's going on. In English, please." Gus explained, "Armageddon is not just one big battle, as so many people believe, but rather a series of battles." "Exactly," Evelyn agreed. "The first battle is the king of the south, Egypt, completely destroyed by fire from Libya to Ethiopia. It will be uninhabitable for 40 years. The second battle is the king of the north, Gog of Magog, Russia, with the associated American destruction." Gus explained further. Sean asks, "So, what's next?" Evelyn replied, "The third campaign of military action is NATO, moving from Western Europe into all of Eastern Europe and the parts of Asia not destroyed. And then, the next campaign is Paul, the Assyrian, moves into the Holy Land and Jerusalem." Now, back in Paul's spirit office, Paul pondered about the world events. Father Ibrahim sat across from him. Father Ibrahim spoke. "Titans are falling one after the other. You've exceeded my expectations. I have no love for Russia. The idea that they're gone, destroyed, that's just fine with me. This means one less competitor for control in the Middle East, answered Paul. And perhaps the whole world, Father Ibrahim added. The world is getting smaller all the time, and my ambitions are growing bigger, Paul stated. Father Ibrahim looked, smiled, and said, Was I called here for a confession? Tell me something I don't already know. Yes, of course. You see, Father, something is going on inside me. I have noticed that Asher, the great god Asher, has been making mistakes, Paul stated. This gets a knowing look from the priest. Paul continued, No need to worry. I've made sure that this will only be between us. From above them, a mystical barrier becomes visible. How do you do that? Go on, the priest inquired. At times, Asher had no idea what I was thinking. Don't get me wrong, I still honor him with my substance, my money, but I reasoned within myself, what need of gold and silver does God have? Paul remarked. Father Ibrahim concurred. I have to admit, from time to time, he seems confused and disoriented. Asher never lets on that anything was wrong. He would just cover mistakes by more bluster and accusations. There's always someone to blame. I recognize that Asher is a powerful angelic being and should be appeased whenever possible. But, Paul added, Father Ibrahim interrupted, but you no longer see him as a god. Paul laughed hard. Actually, I have more trust in your powers and counsel, Father. Father Ibrahim knelt before Paul. End of chapter 13.